Hi friends, Danny here. Winter is just around the corner, so today I will tell you about 10 top games with a nice winter atmosphere. Let's start with a living legend, Mafia II. The plot of the game is about a young Sicilian-American mafioso and war veteran who gets involved in a power struggle among the city's mafia crime families, trying to repay his father's debts and provide himself with a better way of life. Winter doesn't last too long in the game. A few starting missions, and then the season of Christmas trees presents, and imperishable Let It Snow is replaced by another season. Nevertheless, the winter atmosphere in the game is realized just incredibly. You will certainly not want to rush during the introduction. Forget about the tasks. Take a ride on the Empire Bay, watch the passers-by, and get into the spirit of the holiday. Winter Survival. This is a survival simulator in conditions of severe snowy winter. Left alone during a heavy trek, the protagonist is forced to search for supplies, fight the cold, fight with predators, and look for a way to civilization's salvation from certain death. The developers promise realistic gameplay, mechanics of hunting, crafting and base building, and the atmosphere of doom in the face of unforgiving nature. The Long Dark. Oh yeah, as to me it is the most V-bust winter game. Personally, I replay it almost every winter. The darkness hides a quiet malevolence. There is food, firewood, and shelter in the frozen wilds of Canada. But to go in search of it is a risk, and that risk will haunt you always, before every step and every decision you make. GRA is brilliant in its own way. It always seems perfectly balanced, even despite the heavy reliance on random generation of the location of valuable trophies, and small bugs. Resident Evil Village offers to spend winter vacations in a village lost somewhere in Eastern Europe, and everything would be fine. But only the villagers are almost all extinct or have run away, and those who have not managed to do so are wandering around the neighborhood in the guise of werewolves and ghouls. And not far away is a gloomy-looking castle, ruled by mysterious mistresses. The protagonist will have to restore order here. It is worth noting that the winter atmosphere in Resident Evil Village is very authentic. The contemplation of the snowy village and other locations just physically becomes cold. Project Winter is a game in the genre of social deduction, which involves disguising yourself in plain sight of your opponents. 8 survivors found themselves alone with the harsh winter nature. In order not to perish from hypothermia, hunger, and predators' teeth, players must band together and work together to gather resources, forage for food, and craft weapons. However, there is a catch. Some of the characters are traitors that will do everything possible to fail the mission without giving themselves away. The snowy terrain of Project Winter works to create an atmosphere of survival and influences the gameplay. It's impossible not to shiver from the cold when your alter ego in the game runs, falling through the snow from a ferocious wolf, or tries to warm up by a liquid fire. Dread hungers the Arctic, a ship whose crew members do not trust each other, and supernatural forces that want to destroy the travelers. Made in the genre of social deduction, the game offers to survive, fight against cold and hunger, and those who play the role of traitors in every possible way to contribute to the failure of the mission. For example, spoil food, attract predators, use dark magic, or simply attack stealthily. Kona is a cold adventure set in 1970s Canada. The main character, Private Detective Carl Faubert, comes to the city to investigate strange incidents. One day he receives a call from his client, who reports that his house was ransacked and he found his employee dead in the street. Carl begins to investigate, but soon realizes that this is not a simple case. He discovers that all of the town's residents are disappearing one by one and his own life is in danger. Carl begins to explore the town and finds many clues that link local legends to the town's sad history. He gathers information to figure out what is going on and how to save his life and the lives of the remaining townspeople. Steep is a game about extreme sports in the Alps. There is no plot, developed characters, and pumping in the game, but there is pure, uncluttered extreme sport. It begins with the fact that the player finds himself in a mountain resort in the Alps. There he meets various coaches and other players who teach him the basics of extreme sports. The player must pass a series of tests and tasks to become a professional skier and snowboarder. As he progresses, the protagonist encounters dangerous situations such as avalanches and snowfalls. The protagonist must overcome all difficulties and solve various puzzles to make it to the next level. The game also offers the opportunity to improve your skills and acquire new equipment and gear. Mundaun is a gloomy and atmospheric game in itself, with the vibe of a dim winter morning. When the world outside the window blends into a solid gray blur, This feeling is intensified when you go to the top of the mountain, where the snow doesn't come down, and you have to move with difficulty, getting bogged down in snowdrifts. A grandson arrives at the place of death of his grandfather, who sort of died in a barn fire. But the hero quickly begins to realize that something is not right here. The local Holy Father suspiciously evades the conversation. The circumstances of death are unusual, and to say goodbye to a relative is not possible, and the cemetery just dug a hole, and there is no coffin. In the course of the game, the hero learns about the demonic forces that pursue the inhabitants of Mundaun, and he has to find out the circumstances of his relative's death, help his relatives, and just survive. The last game for today will be called Fade to Silence. It is a role-playing game with survival elements in the post-apocalyptic world of eternal winter. The main character is Ash, a born leader who is tormented by his own mind. He has to explore the icy lands devastated by the world catastrophe and collect materials, without which it is impossible to build a shelter and survive. The plot is presented through the memories of companions and dreams of the hero, and all the collected information is stored in a special encyclopedia, which can be read at any time. That's it. I hope you liked the top. Put likes and subscribe to the channel. Bye.